Hi, so in this video, I wanted to talk about the achievement gap in our education system. And for those that don't know, the achievement gap refers to the disparity of achievement between various student groups. And these groups and the gap can exist between groups that are based on socioeconomic status, race or ethnicity, and gender. So prior to taking this course, I had heard of an achievement gap. I knew that there were disparities in the system, but I honestly had not spent much time thinking about it, which is embarrassing to say. But after doing the research and reading all the content for this week, I realize now how impactful the achievement gap is, how unfair it is, and the lifelong consequences of the achievement gap in our system, and how it's a system that picks winners and losers. And we're doing that with children that don't have a say in the matter and are born into the circumstances that they're born into. And it should be society's job to give everyone a fair shot. That's always been the American goal. And I don't think we've ever really truly achieved that. And I would like to see more progress made in doing that. So some possible causes of the achievement gap are low expectations for student achievement, uncertified and inexperienced teachers, limited family support, limited access to health and social services, lack of resources and materials in low-income schools, and negative school culture. So currently, 74% of Americans believe the achievement gap between white students and students of color is primarily due to factors unrelated to the quality of schooling that children receive, which is a pretty bleak outlook on making a difference in the achievement gap and closing it. I don't think that that is the case, and I think if the public had more information regarding the achievement gap, they would feel differently. So in my community of San Diego in California is one of the states with one of the largest Hispanic populations, and that plays a role in the education system, definitely. So the schools I attended, from my own experiences, were definitely majority white spaces, and did not have many students of color, and were on a higher socioeconomic status, and so resources and opportunities were pretty endless. And definitely compared to other schools in the community, I feel like there definitely was a culture of knowing like which schools were the good schools and which schools were the bad schools, and which one you wanted to attend and which one you wanted your children to go to, which I think, considering that's within like 3 zip codes, really speaks to what a difference it can make on your education and in the community. So some of my proposed solutions are to do away with the tracking system. I was really moved by the article this week about that, and that was very informative for me as far as seeing how that system that we currently use doesn't give equal opportunities to all students. Some students are given a rigorous academic curriculum, and then other students are given kind of a watered down version that leaves them ill prepared to move on to college or on a career path. So we're disadvantaging students pretty much from the start with that system. I don't think that that system is an effective way to go. I also think that we need to change how we fund public schools. Ideally, that's what I would like to see, so that it's equal across the board, because without adequate funding and without those resources and materials, the gap will never close. Also, that would also help with giving teachers adequate and really qualified teachers into those low-income schools rather than the high turnover that we currently see. I think it would definitely help with that, which will then also close the gap. So obstacles I see are funding, of course. That's always a problem in education. But also, I think that the system moves very slowly. And Brown versus Board of Education is a good example of that. It's been 6 decades, and according to data, things have barely changed. And so I think that would be a huge obstacle. People are pretty resistant to change generally, and especially when it's a governmental system, it tends to move pretty slowly. So I see those two being like the biggest obstacles for sure. So outcomes that I hope to see with my solution would be a shrinking, of course, of the achievement gap is the goal. At least in my local community would be really powerful, I think. And then, just bigger and broader from there, countywide, statewide, nationwide, like that would make a huge difference, I think, in our society and our culture as a whole, and benefits everyone. So I think this is important because I think there's a general lack of education in the local community about this issue. And I think if people were more aware of the impacts of the achievement gap and the reasons why it exists, I think people would be pretty moved to demand change. Again, considering this, we're talking about children here that don't have a say in the matter. I think it's our job as a local community and as a society to give everyone the same opportunities. That's what America's always said we're about, and I think we need to put our money where our mouth is. So all children are owed a fair start in life, and education is the way to level the playing field for all. So closing the achievement gap is going to do that. Thank you.